welcome to another episode of the Javelina Coaches Show on the Mendoza's Pharmacy Javelina Sports Network. We're excited to have you with us for another week alongside some of the people who are heading up these programs we have in Kingsville. And we lead off with our head baseball coach, Jason Gonzalez. Coach, appreciate you taking some time out once again today.
Pleasure to visit with you.
Coming off of a rare weekend of the season with no baseball for you guys. You guys had a week without where you could kind of rest up and get everyone a little bit healthier for the stretch run. How did you guys utilize this week off?
Well, we gave them a couple of extra days off that we don't normally do, and bye week can either come at a good time or you rather it not be here because you're playing really well or whatever. But we've been as beat up and as banged up as I've had in a long time. So the bye week was able to give us some rest. So we gave them a couple of days off, but we practiced 3 days last week, and then we gave them the weekend off, and that was good. Sometimes you just got to get away from it a little bit, rest your body, and we've got another 4 series left. So I told them, this is the last weekend we'll be off. The next weekend we're off is when we're taking up uniforms. So hopefully that's still a ways down the road for us.
What are the expectations you have for your team? What is it you'd like to see when you guys get back to practicing this week?
Well, we've got to get back to one, because you did have a couple of days off. Now we've got to get back to some fundamentals and some basics. You've got to knock just a little bit of rust off. But these guys have been doing this for so long, it's not going to take them long to get back into the rhythm. And again, we've got 12 games left in the regular season, and so we told them yesterday, we've got to, I know it sounds cliche, but you're playing it pitch by pitch, inning by inning, game by game. We've got to go out and take care of our own business. And what we want to see, and what we've always preached, is we've got to play fast and loose and with no fear of failure.
And does it make it a little bit easier knowing that you guys get to start things back up at home this weekend?
It does. The road's tough, and be able to have anybody come to Kingsville. Everybody usually in our conference plays very well at home, and I don't think we're an exception to that. Kingsville has always been a tough place to travel and play, and we want to continue to make it that way. So yes, it does make it a little bit, more convenient to not have to get on the bus and go play somewhere else.
You've been fortunate enough to have maybe the best kind of 1-2 combination of starters in Colby Lunsford and Logan Garza to this point this season, who, by the way, have won the last 2 LSC Pitcher of the Week awards. How much easier has it made your job being able to run those guys out there each weekend?
Well, what they're able to do is either give us momentum or stop momentum from the day before, and those 2 guys have been as reliable as anybody we've had here in the past X amount of years. And to be able to have those guys go out for 2 games, we know at the very least they're going to give our team a chance. And that's all you can ask of a pitcher. You can't ask him to go win. He can't do that. He's got to have some help behind him. But what we can ask our team, our pitchers, to do is give our team a chance. And they've done that every single time. And Logan's last outing against UT Tyler was as good and as fun as I've ever been around in a long time.
Yeah, not often you see a pitcher go 9 innings, complete game shutout. That way he did shut down a really good team in Tyler. And I know you have a lot of faith in the guys you have in the bullpen, but what was it that gave you faith in him going out there for those last few innings, which again is not a bridge that a lot of guys can cross in this league?
Well, one, his pitch count was down. It wasn't as high as it normally is. And that's rare because Logan is a strikeout pitcher, and anytime you have a strikeout pitcher, his pitch count's going to get up a little bit higher, a little bit quicker. But he's a bulldog, and he works extremely hard Monday through Thursday in terms of conditioning and the weights. So physically, he's ready to do it. He's capable of doing it. He's a 4th-year junior. He knows his arm and he knows his body as well as anybody. And I mean, he was absolutely dominating him. And I think even our bullpen realized, this guy's finishing the game. There's no reason for us to get up. And it's just one of those things where you're going to win or to lose it with him. He had done so well for so long, and it was his game to, again, win or lose. And he gives our team, our hitters, even our pitching staff, he gives them a lot of confidence. He's a very confident player and individual as well. And so, again, it was going to take an act of Congress to get him off the mound at that point in time.
Now, you've Gary Thompson's a guy, one of your freshmen, who's, regardless of that, seen a lot of action this season and hitting over 310 now. I feel like he's put together a lot of good at-bats over the course of the last few weeks. What has been the biggest difference in what you've seen from him at the plate over the last couple of weeks?
Well, he doesn't play with any fear either. He's a guy that, again, as a freshman, he came in here and did what we asked him to do. Work extremely hard, be quiet, watch what's going on around you, learn from some guys above you. Cole Ullman has done a tremendous job of taking him under his wing, showing him the ropes, explaining a lot of things to him. Garrett doesn't get nervous, and sometimes being young, you don't realize maybe you're supposed to be nervous in those situations, but we gave him an opportunity, and he did exactly what we've asked our team to do. When you get an opportunity, you got to run with it and force our hand as coaches to either continue to put you in or, we got to pull him out. And it's been fun to watch his development, and his ceiling is extremely high, along with a couple other freshmen that are in the lineup every day. But it has been a very pleasant surprise coming from such a young, true freshman.
It's a pretty talented St. Edward's team you guys have coming in this weekend. You guys played them the same place here last year in a 4-game series split with SEU. How do you guys put yourselves in the best position to be successful this weekend?
Well, we've got to come out and be very fundamental. In the games that we haven't won, we've made some mistakes, and unfortunately that's going to happen. If you look at their record, it's not indicative of the team they are, the program they are. And you don't normally see a St. Edward's team below 500. But if you look at the games they've lost, it's one run, and they've lost several one-run games. So they're in every game, and if we go in looking at their record, it's going to be a misnomer. We're setting ourselves up for failure. They're going to be ready to go. They've got a lot on the line. They're still playing for a lot, as we are. So I don't expect it to be anything but a dogfight for 3 straight games.
Yeah, 2 teams, like you mentioned, their team plays a lot of close games. So do you guys. Should make for an exciting weekend of baseball at Nolan Ryan Field.
We're excited about it, ready to get back into it. And again, this is a stretch run, and this is when it starts getting fun, because every pitch, every inning, every game, every win or loss is magnified because of where we are in the season.
Oh, well, we're looking forward to it, Coach. I know you are. We appreciate the time. Thank you.
Always a pleasure, Mark. God bless.
We'll take our first break here on the Javelina Coaches Show. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our head women's tennis coach, Autumn Wollenzien. We'll be back in a moment. To the Javelina Coaches Show. We're joined by our next guest, and that is the head women's tennis coach, Autumn Wollenzien. Autumn, thank you for taking some time out today.
Thanks for having me.
Coming off a weekend, back-to-back wins for you guys over DBU and UT Permian Basin on Saturday and Sunday. How happy are you with what you saw from your players this past week?
Oh, very happy. Both wins were tough. They had to dig deep to make it happen. And so it was a good weekend.
Yeah, you mentioned last time we talked you felt like you had a team of fighters. And I think that was especially in evidence against DBU. You had 3 singles matches where you had a player drop the first set and come back to win the next 2. How impressed were you with the fight that you saw from your players?
Very. It's important to win matches like that. If you go down the first set and to come back and know that you can win the match and actually do it, it's really important to do it.
You mentioned, I think also, you talked about how for so many of these players, this is their first time competing in a doubles format. They have to take some time to get used to playing in those situations. How happy are you with what you've seen from your players in adjusting and being prepared and being ready in those spots?
For doubles, we still have a lot of work to do. We'd make our lives much easier if we were able to win the doubles point off the bat. So far, we've been able to win 1 match here, 1 match there, but we need 2 out of 3 in order to win the doubles point. So it makes it a little bit harder when we go into singles, which on one hand is a good thing because singles is their comfort. They've been playing singles their whole life. So it makes it a little bit, it's nerve-wracking on one hand, but on the other hand, you just have to have confidence in your players that they know what they need to do when they go out to play singles.
Obviously, it was a tough start for you guys as far as conference play was concerned, but these back-to-back wins, how do you guys try and use these as a springboard into the rest of the schedule and into the postseason as well?
Well, we started out the conference play with 3 very tough teams, probably the 3 toughest teams in the conference. So it's very important to understand where you are and what the schedule is. You know, we're never going into a match saying we're supposed to win, we're supposed to lose. You go in the match to play, and everybody has to play the matches. At the same time, you have to keep your morale up and know that the wave will come. Know that, you know, it's a young team. There are other teams out there who are also young but also older than us and have more experience than us. So, you know, it's like I said, it's very important to stay realistic, to keep your morale high, to keep the positivity high, and, you know, if you win or lose, to reset and keep going forward.
When you have such a young team, how important is the role that some of your older players play on this squad? They have to do double the work, because right now it's just 2 of them who are older. One of them is a junior, the other is a senior. The junior, this is the most vocal she's ever been, in her career, and it's good. I mean, it fits her personality very well, so she's comfortable doing it. It also, you know, for the senior, she had to speak up a lot more. She's not the most extroverted person. However, when she does speak, she says some important things. And so for both of them, I think it's been a growing experience, a learning experience. And I think that they fit well into the role that they have. I think that they lead the freshmen very well. And they know how important it is to be vocal and to speak up and to set the tone for our team. You call it a growing experience. What's it like for you as a coach to watch that growth?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's one of the main reasons that I've been doing this for 11 years is because the growth is what inspires me, you know, and as they come in as freshmen and leave as seniors, and even after knowing them after, you know, graduating, the growth is what helps to keep me inspired, helps to keep me moving forward, it helps to let me know that I'm doing the right things, you know, on and off the court.
2 important matches for you guys at home this weekend. What are the things that you and your team need to do to be prepared for the challenges that you're going to face in the coming days?
We need rest, and because rest is just important as practice. And we need to, after we rest, we need to get right back into it and stay in an aggressive mindset. Know that just because we had 2 good wins doesn't mean that you know the season is over, or that we need to relax. We need to keep the foot on the gas and keep moving forward.
How ready do you think your team will be for that?
I think they'll be ready. I think you know, everything that we've done leading up to, from February leading up to here, has prepared us for the moments coming forward. You know, they know, you know, we only have 3 weeks left in the season to show who we are and to grow and to get better. So I think that they're excited. I think the wins obviously help to keep the excitement high. But I think that we have to maintain, you know, aggressiveness. We have to maintain competitiveness, and like I said, we can't let up.
Well, Coach Wollenzien, we look forward to seeing you and your team on the court this week, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
We'll take one more break on the Javelina Coaches Show. Our head beach volleyball coach, Tanya Allen, is up next, so don't go away. We'll be right back. Back on the Javelina Coaches Show, and as promised, our last guest is the head Javelina beach volleyball coach, Tanya Allen. Coach Allen, thank you for stopping by again.
Thanks for having me.
And all this time with the long practices and the late nights from your coaching staff and the days going without sleep, all leading up to this point for your beach team, which is Nationals, which starts on Friday. You guys found out you're the 4th seed. You're going to be in Pool C, which would be where you guys will be playing for the first about day and a half. What's the mood for your team like with this day finally about to be here?
Relief, excitement. I know the girls are super appreciative, especially the ones who, you know, their season got cut short last year. I think there was a bit of an anxiety throughout the semester, wondering if it was going to get canceled again or if we were going to actually be able to make it. And so as soon as we get on that plane in the morning, I think they're going to be super relieved and very excited to get to play.
And obviously, we talked about this as well with same thing with indoor season. There have been so many kind of hoops that the players and you and your coaches have had to jump through to get to this point with the testing and the constant temp checks and having to make sure that everyone was behaving responsibly. How happy have you been with how your team has handled themselves in those areas in order to get to this point without any really major speed bumps to this point?
You know, I mean, proud is an understatement, but I feel like it's not their fault. You know, a ton of what is happening to them is just out of their control, and it's not their fault. And so we really just frame it like we respond and we bounce back the best we can. And you know, they've done such a good job, because I know there's been a high level of stress every time we have to COVID test, every time you have to go get your temp checked, every time there's some sort of protocol put into place. I know it's a lot of anxiety for them that they might miss, you know, not only a game or two, but their entire season. So you know, I'm really proud of the effort that they've put into it, and they follow everything exactly as asked. They don't complain. They just do what's necessary so they can keep playing. And you know, they've done a really good job.
And I can't imagine when you add the burden on the fact that if someone else tests positive,
Right.
their first thought might be, well, how does that affect my teammates?
Oh, absolutely.
It's kind of a multi-layered thing that everyone's had to deal with.
100%, yes.
Now, you guys come back from your last regular season tournament at Baton Rouge. You guys had a really tough slate there, but pulled out two really impressive wins. You mentioned you felt like some of your pairs really raised their level of play. What were the most impressive things you saw from your team last weekend?
There were some really good bouts of offense. You know, there were some stretches where, you know, along the net you were seeing some big swings, and you know, all the pairs played at the same time at LSU, which was good preparation for nationals. But just looking down the court 1 through 6, you know, at any given moment you were going to see some big swings, and that's really impressive for us. And I think the hard part for us is still the little things. You know, sometimes we botch a set, or you know, sometimes we don't side out as quickly as we need to. First ball side out is still, you know, a weak area for us. And the control aspect, hitting the shots that we want to hit when we need to hit them, is still a little bit of a struggle, up and down here and there. But a few of the pairs, you know, Shelby and Deborah, being more mature, being older kids, have really established their own style of play. It's super fast, it's super physical, and they're being able to really, you know, capitalize on that and be something that has to be reckoned with. An opponent that most people are kind of flustered by, and so that's really good for them, especially now at the end of the season. Macy and Tinley have just now kind of established some chemistry. We switched partners for a while and tried to figure out what was the best fit for the team, and they have now kind of really grown to appreciate one another and really push each other, so they're performing at a high level right now.
I had a lot of fun watching Shelby and Deborah play together, and that's been one of the tandems that's been together since this season started. How quickly did you and your assistants kind of make that connection that, hey, these are two players who complement each other really well, who would give us a really strong team?
Well, you know, it's kind of funny because when you talk about personalities, typically people talk about having the same personalities on a team, but we kind of liked that, you know, Deborah tends to be kind of calm and you know, she's very positive and very uplifting, and Shelby's super competitive, super serious, kind of blunt when she plays. And then Deborah's super physical. I mean, she can hit the ball really hard, and she can move the ball. She's super high on her block. And then we knew that Shelby was really fast and a fantastic defender. So we kind of leaned towards them being a duo early on, just because we knew the defense would be so top-notch. And the complement to the personalities, with them being kind of opposites, it works really well.
Obviously, this will be your team's third trip to nationals. You guys have, a lot of your student athletes have been to this event before and know exactly what it's going to entail and what it's going to take in order to try and get back to the goal that you guys accomplished in 2018. How prepared do you think your team is for this moment?
Well, you know, that's tricky because we don't have that many, honestly, that have been to this tournament. There's actually only a handful. It's a very new roster just because last year we didn't go. So, you know, I think in our starting lineup, I want to say 2 have been Macy and Tinley. You know, and so That's I know Chris, obviously Tate, they've been and they'll be competing in the pairs tournament, so that's really good. But just, you know, knowledge of what we're actually getting into, I don't think the girls know yet. I know they're competitive, I know they're mature, I know they're going to work really hard, and I think there are going to be some nerves, a little bit of nervous energy going into it, and so hopefully we can kind of rein that in that first couple matches and kind of calm them down, because it is exciting and it is a little bit overwhelming. 30 courts going at once, and you know, there's a lot going on. So hopefully once they kind of get that first couple of matches under their belt, they'll be ready to go.
One of the things you guys have benefited from throughout the course of this program's history is you guys have had fans and parents who are willing to travel to wherever you guys are going, whether that's in-state or out-of-state or to this tournament. The last 2 times we've gone, there have been a lot of parents who've made the trip. How much of a benefit is that going to be to hopefully have a number of people there who will be with you guys all the way?
Yeah, it's amazing, and we're going to need it. There's 2 of the top 4 teams are local. You know, they're there in Florida, and so they're going to have plenty of fans. And Spring Hill, being the other one in the top 4, is much closer than we are. So they're probably all going to have a good chunk of fans there, and it feels kind of like a home court advantage for them. So I'm really excited to have that group of parents that we know will travel and be there to support us and be loud and really push us to hopefully win some points.
I know you mentioned this a little bit before, but what are the things, the keys you point to? If we do these things well, we'll be successful.
If we can side out at a very high percentage, first ball side out, if we can get it as high as 70%, I know we'll be successful, because defensively we are really good. We're really good. When we make digs in transition, when we get blocks, you know, we're able to finish points. But defense is the toughest part of the game, you know, and if you're relying on scoring points on the defensive side of the game, it's really tough to win against the good teams. You have to be able to side out at will. And I think that's the teams that are not finishing matches or not being able to win their matches, it's because they're not siding out at such a high rate. So I think that's really a focus that we've been working all week on, offensive shots and decision making and execution and setting and all the things necessary to make that happen. So hopefully that's improved by Friday.
Well, Coach, we wish you the best of luck. Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Javelina Coaches Show, and I thank you to our other guests, Jason Gonzalez and Anna Wollenzien. We'll be back next week, but we appreciate you tuning in on the Mendoza's Pharmacy Javelina Sports Network. We'll see you next time.